Hey guys, what's up? In this video, I'm going to be exposing controlled opposition shills. So this is an all-new Shills Exposed video. Now this is just a continuation of videos I've done in the past, but there are new people in this video. You may see some old ones also, but there are new people in this video, and I'm going to be exposing people who are pretending to be truthers online, but they're fakes. And a lot of them, and I don't know, I think a lot of them, they want to be founded or something, because they're purposely making this triangle shape with their hands constantly to identify themselves as Freemasons, even though they're acting like they're truthers and stuff. Most of the people you see on BitChute and Rumble and YouTube acting as truthers, the majority of them are controlled opposition shills, and they're all Freemasons. Freemasons are Jesuits. Okay guys, so here's the video. And I might throw in a few other things at the end besides the new shills. Just some things I found interesting. Okay, here's the video. Okay, so first up here, we have Mr. Beast, the famous YouTuber. And you can see him making the Freemason triangle with his hands right there. Next up, we have the Dollar Vigilante, Jeff Berwick, and his buddy in Vancouver, Ed Bugos. Now you can see the Dollar Vigilante giving the peace sign, and Ed Bugos is doing the Freemason sign. And next, you can see Jeff Berwick doing the little triangle Freemason sign with his hands, and Ed Bugos is doing it as well. Now if you look at Ed Bugos, you can see, if you watch this video, Ed Bugos could not make eye contact with the camera. Like, he's staring down and doesn't want to make eye contact because he's ashamed of what he's doing. He's doing it anyway, but he's ashamed of it, and he can't bring himself to look into the camera. Next up here, we have Jake Paul, Logan Paul's brother, and here he is making the Freemason hand sign. Now, in order for these guys to be famous, they have to sacrifice a friend or relative. And Jake Paul, he sacrificed his bodyguard. I don't know what the guy's name is. He's a black guy, and yeah, that black guy ended up dead. So Jake Paul sacrificed his black guy bodyguard in order to be famous. Now this next guy, his name is Wes Watson, I believe. And he's making the Freemason hand sign. And he's, I guess he's a famous bodybuilder. Next here, I don't know what this guy's name is, but apparently he's a Jewish rabbi. Supposedly, I don't know if he is or not. Supposedly he is. And here he is making the Freemason hand sign, letting everybody know he's part of the Mafia Club. Next up, I don't know what this guy's name is, but it says right there, builtwithscience.com, so you can probably check out that website and see what his name is. He's on YouTube, he's a workout guy, and here he is making the Freemason hand sign. Next up, this guy, he runs a channel, Active Self-Protection. And here he is making the Freemason hand sign with his hands. And he'll do video reviews of people getting attacked with weapons and stuff, and he'll say, oh, what they should have and what they shouldn't have done. Next up, oh, look who it is. It's George Janko. Not you too, George. Looks like George Janko's a Freemason too. So maybe that whole beef between him and Logan Paul is an act, just to stir up something that people can talk about and focus on besides politics. So there's George Janko making the Freemason hand sign, and he goes on like, "Oh, I'm a Christian and all this," and you know, he's pushing brainwashing fantasy religion that the elites want him to push, so people can be deluded into a fantasy world instead of reality. But anyway, so there you have it, George Janko making the Freemason hand sign. And here we go. Here's another bodybuilder. There's Big Boy on the left in the black sweats, and on the right, I can't remember that guy's name, but he's like a professional bodybuilder. Maybe you guys will know his name. I forget his name. I knew it, but I can't remember what it is. Anyway, whatever. There he is, clearly making the Freemason hand sign. So, and you know, he's right there in front of Big Boy. And Big Boy's a big-time bodybuilder, and he's hanging out with all the same guys that make the same hand sign, so he's probably a Freemason too. Now this guy is Dr. Chris Raynor, and he's a doctor on YouTube, and he makes videos about medical stuff. And here he is making the Freemason hand sign. So there you go. There are doctors in the hospitals who are Freemasons, and there's one of them doing the Freemason hand sign right in your face. And another famous doctor who was a Freemason was Michael Jackson's doctor, and he OD'd Michael Jackson on propofol. And he went to prison for it, and he's a Freemason. Okay, this is George Janko at his house with his girlfriend. And I don't know who that is, that guest is. Maybe some of you guys will know who it is. But there he is, clearly making the Freemason hand sign. And earlier I showed you George Janko making the Freemason hand sign. So I guess they're willing to sell out in order to be rich and famous and, you know, have a good life. All they have to do is, you know, kill somebody in their family or one of their friends. No big deal, right? Here's Logan Paul. And him and his brother sacrificed their black guy bodyguard to be famous. There he is making the Freemason hand sign. There he is again making the Freemason hand sign. There's Mike Malak next to him. And Mike makes that sign all the time too. Oh, this guy. This next guy here, he's supposedly a targeted individual. He's obviously controlled opposition. He interviews all kinds of people who say they're targeted individuals. But here he is making the Freemason hand sign, exposing himself as a Freemason and a lying shill. So yeah, he's trying to take lead over targeted individuals, so you won't watch a real targeted individual. This guy's a fake, and he's just trying to take control of the targeted individual space. Okay, here is Jim Rizzoli, and he talks about stuff on BitChute all the time. And here's Jim Rizzoli making the Freemason hand sign. And here's another picture of him doing the same thing. Clearly making the Freemason hand sign. Jim Rizzoli on BitChute. Here's Richie from Boston making the Freemason hand sign. Richie from Boston, he's on BitChute now, and he won't even turn his comments on. His comments are turned off on BitChute, because everybody knows he's the shill now. Okay, I don't know who this guy is, but it's like, the guy on the left is Michael Francesi. He's like a mob guy, and the mob's controlled, you know, the Italian mob, they're controlled by the Catholic Church, and they're no different than like the Freemasons, Italian mob. Same with the biker gangs. Anyway, this guy over here across the table from him in the dark shirt, I don't know his name, but here he is clearly making the Freemason hand sign in front of a you know, Italian mobster. Okay, this next guy here, I don't know his name, but I know that he's a reporter on television. So he's a TV reporter, and he's clearly making the Freemason hand sign. Maybe some of you guys will know his name. Now this one is a different one. This is Idi Amin. He was the president, and I forget the country. It was an African country, and he went against Israel. Anyway, this is actually fake. You can see he's making the Freemason hand sign, but if you look closely at his wrist, there's a line there where you can see his hand is a different color than his arm. And they have actually faked him doing this Freemason hand sign. Because years ago, I actually seen this video of him talking about Israel, and he never made any Freemason hand sign. So this is actually fake and photoshopped. Idi Amin is not actually doing this Freemason hand sign. They're faking it with him for some reason. They did the same thing with Ernst Zundel. Ernst Zundel, there was a picture of him making the Freemason hand sign, but you could see that it was photoshopped, and they put in some fake hands doing it. So Idi Amin, he's actually not making the Freemason hand sign. This is photoshopped. Okay, here's Larry Wheels and James English. Larry Wheels, he's a famous bodybuilder. James English, he looks like he lifts weights too. I don't really know who he is, but there he is making the Freemason hand sign. And in the next picture, Larry Wheels is making the Freemason hand sign. So obviously, to get as popular as he has, with all the subscribers he has on YouTube and all the attention he gets, and all the other people who interview him, and they all cross promote each other, he obviously is part of the Freemason Club. See, if you're on YouTube and you want to really make it big, the only way these other people are going to work with you and promote your channel and help you grow is if you're part of their little criminal mafia club, which I am not a part of. Okay, this may surprise a bunch of you. This is Brian 2. He's a so-called targeted individual. A lot of people think he was real, but here he is making the Freemason hand sign with his hands. Here's the next one. It says, more Masonic hand signs and crazy talk from COINTELPRO operative Brian Rutenberg, aka Brian 2. And here's another picture of him with the Freemason hand sign. Here's another one. It says, more Masonic hand signaling, obviously being done with intent, while he puts out his usual crazy talk about supercomputers attempting to clone the intellect of every human being. And here's another one. Some hand signal as what was previously shown. So Brian, too, he's a fake targeted individual. And but the thing with him, he probably says a lot of real stuff and then throws in a bunch of fake stuff. So it's hard to tell with him what's real and what's fake. But he says a lot of stuff that's true, but he throws in some fake stuff. Okay, this guy's a famous YouTuber and a bodybuilder in Los Angeles. I can't remember his name right now, but he's on YouTube. And here he is, making the Freemason hand sign, showing that he's on the team. And, you know, he's worked out with Arnold Schwarzenegger's son and all kinds of celebrities. So the only way you work out with those guys and they promote your videos is if you're in the little criminal club, you know. Okay, this picture here, this is a picture from Anarchapulco, which is controlled by Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante. And if you can see in the background there, you can see there's an older gentleman. He has a light straw hat on, and he has a white beard, and he has a black tank top. He's in the middle, a little bit to the left, and he's making the Freemason hand sign with his hand. And Jeff Berwick is a Freemason, and you know, Max Egan is a Freemason. All those guys are Freemasons, and their job is just to try to suck people in to come down into their conference, and then they'll just get to know everything about you and put you into the system. This next one, you can see Benjamin Netanyahu with Elon Musk. Here's Elon Musk making the Freemason hand sign. And also, right next to that picture is the picture of Donald Trump making the Freemason hand sign. And that Freemason hand sign, that stems out of the three Abrahamic religions. And it's really, originally, it was a Jewish hand sign. And here is Mr. Beast, the famous YouTuber, making the Freemason hand sign. Next, this is a cop. It says, Canadian Drug Policy Coalition is a Masonic drug trafficking front group. And this guy is a police officer in Canada. He's making the Freemason hand sign. Like I've said many times before, all the cops are Freemasons. Now this guy here, this is the son of Sam. He's a Jewish guy, and in like the 70s or 60s or something, he shot a bunch of people in New York. And here he is making the Freemason hand sign. He's in prison, but he's still making the Freemason hand sign. And he's talking to that other guy there, and that Italian mobster who does interviews now on YouTube. And they're all in the same club. Okay, this next one is Adam Green and John Hagee. And John Hagee's here making the Freemason hand sign, showing that he's in the little criminal world dictatorship communist mafia, which is controlled by the Jesuits and the Catholic Church and the Freemasons. You know, Adam Green, you know, he's controlled opposition too. He's on BitChute a lot and other websites. Okay, here's another guy. These guys are Australian. I don't know their name, but they got a YouTube channel. I don't know what his name is. But here he is making the Freemason hand sign. And they're Australian guys that make YouTube videos. Next up, okay, this is an interesting one. This is Pepe Orsini. Pepe Orsini is one of the most powerful people in the world. He is in one of the top families in Italy, that the families that take turn being the Pope. Like, this guy's the top of the top. This guy may be one of the most powerful men in the world, Pepe Orsini. He's an Italian. And the 13 families in Italy, they're called the Black Nobility. And that's what he's in. He's part of the Black Nobility. And those are the 13 families that take turns being Pope. And that's who rules the world at the very top. The Italians. Not all Italians. I'm saying the Italians that take turns being Pope. And everybody under them. Okay, here's Elon Musk with, I don't know who that is, some Israeli guy. And he's making the Freemason hand sign with his hand. There's Trump, and there's Angela Merkel, and there's Theresa May, and I don't know who that is on the right. I can't even barely see who that is. But anyway, next. Okay, this little picture here, this is a picture of Mike Tyson with his coach that taught him how to fight when he was young. And as you can see on the back of the coach's jersey, there's the number 33, and there's 33 degrees of Freemasonry. So isn't that interesting? Next up, this is a shot from a video made by Chris Must List. Here's a black guy in Trinidad and Tobago making the Freemason hand sign, talking to Chris Must List. Now, Chris Must List, he's like a travel YouTuber, and he got arrested in Trinidad and Tobago, supposedly. Who knows? They faked the stuff, and but who really knows? And so yeah, he gets arrested for subversion or something down there. Anyway, he met up with this guy, and this guy keeps making the Freemason hand sign. Now, that doesn't mean that Chris Must List is a Freemason. He could just be going to talk to this guy. So until I see him make it with his own hands, I'm not going to charge him guilty till I actually see him do it. But he is talking to this guy here who is doing it in his video, and he hasn't said nothing about it. He hasn't commented on it. So, next picture. Okay, in this next picture, you have Brian Shaw, who's like one of the strongest men in the world, and Devon Larratt, and he's like a top arm wrestler in the world. And Devon Larratt's a Canadian, and here's Devon Larratt making the Freemason hand sign, showing that he's part of the little criminal mafia, and he did whatever he had to do to become famous, and then, you know, get all these other famous guys pushing his brand. Next up here, we have L.A. Beast, and here's L.A. Beast making the Freemason hand sign with his hands. He's a YouTuber. He does little stunts, and you know, like eating videos and seeing how many, you know, donuts he can eat, or hot chicken wings, or whatever, stuff like that, or eating gross stuff. He does little stunts. Anyway, there he is, showing that he's part of the Freemason Club, making the Freemason hand sign with his hands. And next up, you're going to see a bunch of memes. So enjoy. Okay, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And spread this information to other people on the net. Don't let these people be able to just fool whoever they want. And hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.